because this is something very expected. Okay? Your role is how to fix it. Right. And this is, of course, is fed so much by the media and by the zealots against Islam and by the Jewish lobby, and so many motives that you can think of that they are fueling this distorted image about Islam in the mind of the people in the West, especially in the modern time, and especially in that juncture of history where Islam is being labeled as the religion of terrorism, when it is associated with the violence that's taking place around the world nowadays. So this is something that has to be borne in mind. The other thing is that you try to remove any kind of generalization from the mind of that person about Islam, and association of Islam with the behavior of Muslims. Because in some way, when we talk about Islam, the first thing that comes to our minds is who the particular Muslims that we came to know. Especially if you are in the West and you've never been to a Muslim country, and you want to, if I ask you about Islam, the first thing that comes to your mind is a Muslim person you happen to know, and you remember their behavior, especially when it was a bit bizarre, when it looks like for you, for your culture, it is weird, something odd, something unintelligible. Islam, I know that is that you cover the faces of your women in total. I know this is Islam. This is what he saw in the streets one day. Islam is that you do this and that, which was a mistaken idea about this religion. So try to, clarify this, that Islam is a religion, but Muslims are human beings. And to err is a human. To err is human. That means that everybody is open and gullible to make mistakes. But what distinguishes a good man from a bad one is piety, is their return to the good manners and ethics. Right? And this may happen to be observed as well in the behavior of others. When you see, for example, the conflict between Catholics and Protestants, do not think that this is what religion says, because Christianity in its reality does not say this. We admit that there are some distorted ideas in Christianity, but we believe as well that the core of this message, as we understand from the Quran, it is a divine message that came from Almighty Allah. And it must contain somewhere some good mannerisms, good qualities of people. So you need to familiarize yourself with the Christian ethics before you get into criticizing Christians for their behavior. So when you look at how you become a practical Muslim, someone who practices their religion, sometimes there is this problem about how you show religion. Is it a public domain or is it a private domain? Because for us it is a public domain. Because a public domain means that it has Islam and Islamic Sharia, it has a rule in the behavior of Muslims in all their daily life. Like when you eat, when you drink, when you walk, when you go to work, when you get married, when when you do everything, there is an Islamic goal behind it. Everything that you do. So it is a public thing. You practice it on an individual basis, and you practice it on a public basis as well. So we have Eid, we have different celebrations, and we have different or certain rules and laws that govern our relationship to one another, which are basically from the Islamic law, from a divine source. But this is not the case in the West, because it is like, as a secular country, they derive their laws from their human faculties, from their experience, for example. They encoded these laws from their experience in the past, how to avoid them in the future by putting these laws. They have no divine origin or essence in them. Right? So that's why in Islam we call Islam is a public domain religion, in contrast to the private domain religion of Christianity. And one of the particular proverbs that illustrate this point is what they say about give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and give to God what is God's, which we have in Arabic يعني زي ما بيقولوا أعطي لقيصر ما لقيصر وأعطي لله ما لله. So there is a separation, there is what we call as a dichotomy between religion and life, or religion and the state. Religion is something private that you practice between yourself at home. But when it comes to the open world, religion has maybe very, very small role, if not any at all. Right? This is not the case with Islam. So be careful when presenting something about the Islamic law to others, because it will sound very unpalatable to others. Unpalatable, something that's not nice, something like, I don't like it. Unwelcome. Right? Because it puts restrictions on them. So in a nutshell, you can think that they have more inclination to abide by the law, the mundane law, than the divine law. So they fear the law more than they fear Allah. Does it make sense now? No? Yes or no? Yes or no? No or yes? What I'm saying is that religion there is something very private that you can practice on your own. You know, without, for example, here, if I do not see you in the mosque for 2 consecutive days, maybe I will pop into your house and say, oh, where have you been? I haven't seen you in the mosque for 2 days. You expect me to be in the mosque. Okay? But there, if you do not see me for 2 years in the church, you never ask about me because you know I'm not a church goer. So this is not a problem for you. But if I know that you do not pray, well, I'll start having some sort of reservation against you. He's not a good man, he doesn't pray. But if you don't pray there, if you don't go to the church there, it doesn't make... تفضل.
حد كان كلمني عن مطبوعات اللغة الصينية.
أيوه.
اسمها؟ علي شيماء. فيها بعد المحاضرة عشان تاخدوا منها مطبوعات إن شاء الله تتفقوا على الموضوع. خلاص؟
Right, so obedience to Allah, to God, is something optional, something voluntary. But obedience to the law is something obligatory. You have to, otherwise you'll be, you'll go to prison, right? So the law there is the ultimate authority that they have to obey. So this is about the background of the society, and against this background you need to carefully